So my PC is not top of the line anymore, but it's still pretty good. So I think we should be able to go. But just downloading this alone was like 50 gigabytes. So I don't even know about the rest of this. But it looks like you get options for games, recent projects, architecture, automotive, manufacture, design and manufacturing, and simulation. Um, I like the idea of simulation, but I feel like that would be a bit too much to put in a survival game. But the templates that it gave us was for first person, third person, top down, um, vehicle, and VR. I think top down would probably be the easiest thing for me to implement here. In general, there's a good chance that top down would be like the best thing for me to do. It'd probably be the easiest. Um, but then you'd have to figure out how to do the aiming system from the top down. Because if we go for an MMO type vibe, generally you can click on your target and target them and shoot and not have to worry about it. But in a survival game, generally you have to kind of aim and shoot, and usually there's reticles. So, in that sense, first person seems like it would be the best so that you can aim down your weapon, shoot at your target, and all that, which probably is true. But on the other hand, third person, especially in an MMO type vibe, like an RPG, looking at your character is very important, I think, thematically. Um, and then shooting a weapon while aiming in third person is a little bit weird. For me personally, I don't really like it too much. But I think, it's something that we could learn to live with. The only thing I don't necessarily like about third person is peeking around corners bugs me a little bit. In most games I play, peeking around corners is just I don't enjoy it. But if we look at games like Scum, where they have it to where you can only see what your player's looking at, I think that's a possible solution. The other solution is um, just not caring and just understand that ambushes happen. Like how are you supposed to plan an ambush if you can't see? And then like once the fight starts, Um, it's like when you think about like an RPG game, like in my head, an RPG game, there has to be like some sort of fast action combat, and you need to be able to kind of, flicker around and go behind cover and shoot and all that to be like really into it. Um, but if we do let's say like a tactical shooter game, like more like a survival game. So if you're playing just a normal survival game, it's more tactical in the sense that like slowly moving around corners and stuff would make more sense. Like just slowly moving around objects and like through buildings and things seems a little bit more of like a survival mechanic. And generally, there isn't a whole lot of just sprinting around unless you're a really top tier survival game player. Sort of. What's going to be hard is balancing the combat in this game. So, how I'm thinking about doing it is no aiming reticle, similar to how Scum would be. So when you are a ranged class, you actually have to learn to shoot. Um, and that would apply to mages and other types of magic as well. The other thing that we could do is so I actually forgot what my second idea was now. But ideally, I would like the survival game to be more like a survival game in the sense that your medical system and healing is much more akin to like Tarkov or Scum, where you have damaged limbs and stuff like that, which play a part in the combat. So let's say that I'm a knight and you're a ranger, and we get into a fight. Well, the ranger is going to be a lot faster than, say, the knight, for example. Um, but when you're playing the knight, you will have access to a very high armor rating. So if we then are able to somehow separate our limb damage and then put individual armor pieces above it, you're going to have armor durability, so you'd have to have an armor system, and then if they get past the armor, you would be able to cripple. Well, the light classes like the Ranger wouldn't have as much armor, so the goal for the Knight would be basically to cripple the Ranger and hunt it down, whereas the goal for the Ranger would be more to like to wear down the Knight, you know? So this is giving us a 3D model to like do stuff with, which is kind of interesting to me. And like I have no idea what like so sky sphere, volumetric cloud. I mean, to me, the clouds and stuff are fine. Like I don't think it really matters. Skylight, you got rotation. Like these are all things I have to learn how to do if I want to make a game with Unreal Engine here. And I feel like it's going to take me way too much because on top of this, we got a CNC machine coming, and I have to learn how to do CNC work. But ideally, what I want to do for the game, if I was to build my world, um, preferably you wouldn't have separated segment maps. But if we have to do that, I think that's fine. To have individual map zones that people can go into or like load into at some point. But so when it comes to the sky, what's going to be different here is that I need to figure out how to make the sun and the moon or whatever go at an angle. We want it to go around the outside of the planet like this so that the sun is always visible on the map instead of like a normal day-night cycle. And my plan for that is twofold. One, lore-wise, the planet is rotating sideways. So the planet, basically, if this was the middle of the planet and this was a side and this was a side, it would be rotating up and down. And then the sun would be just in the middle of the planet. So as the planet rotates around, the center line would have day-night cycles. And then the side of the map, the sun would always be there. But one side of the map would be light and the other side of the map would be more dark. And it's kind of twofold why I kind of want to do that is one, survival players in general, like me personally, when I play a survival game, I like doing things at night because I know most of the other players aren't willing to do it and they get scared and they don't want to go out at night. And I like night because it's more tactical and I know people aren't going to go, like, generally, not that many people go there. Um, but the problem with survival games is a lot of those players refuse to play the game if the night cycle is too long. Like they'll log off and they'll just stop playing. They refuse to do anything if it's dark and they get upset about it and they whine about it. So a happy medium, I think, is that basically you would have the sun always out, but part of the map would be a little bit darker, and then part of the map would be a little bit lighter. So you basically have like really strong shadows on one side and not on the other. And then the center of the map would have day-night cycles pretty much normally, and I think that's a good balance potentially. The main issue that we're going to have with this is you could still you can still have a day-night cycle on the center map, and I got that planned out as well. So basically, if we're looking at a top-down view, say that this is the starting map that you play on. So on this side, you would have the human kingdom, and this side you would have the undead kingdom. All right. And then on either side here, you would just have kind of free rogue communities that are just trying to live. And in the middle would be kind of just a dead zone that's like kind of mosh posh battlefields, just people trying to do whatever in the area. Kind of like a war zone that's desolated a little bit, and also the main world portal infrastructure. There'd be like some reference there to kind of explain what the story's going on. But as the sun, so now we're looking at this way. If we go down to the level, the sun would be rotating sideways like this, which would keep the map light and dark. But again, the human kingdom would be on this side, undead kingdom on this side. And based on the elements, because the elemental lands are in each direction, it would affect the sun. So this way it would be just completely sunny. This way it could be kind of in between, like 50-50 shot. This way, complete darkness because it's going to be very cloudy. This way, sunny again, you know? So you have sun, sun, 50, sun, or dark. And that's just for the center map, because as soon as you move away from that, like you're going to have different kind of things happen, different kind of mechanics in play. But I think that's a good way to potentially do it if you wanted to do day-night cycles. But this right here is a whole lot that I do not understand. I would prefer just to build the world. If I'm building things out of blocks, I could probably do it. It'll just take time. Brush editing. Foliage, landscape mode, animation. There's just way too much for me to do. Like, I definitely have to have people that know what they're doing to help me out on this. Interesting, though. So it has a character model. It's a little bit more robotic vibe. I'm fine with that. Definitely having some control issues, though. It's probably just a lag, because, like, right there, I wasn't even pushing any buttons. It seems like 3D modeling-wise, it's fine, but my computer's probably not built enough to kind of manage this. Mainly right now, I just need to figure out how to build maps is what we need to do. Modeling. So, disc, stairs, arrow, sphere. find that interesting. Taurus Arrow. Interesting. Box. Like, if I had to build this whole thing out of boxes, I could. I wish it snapped, though. I've played Minecraft enough that I could build some stuff out of boxes, but it not snapping would be kind of a pain. And then what, I have to click the box every time? Imagine imagine that, like doing that for, oh, it would take so long. And then I don't know what the build limits of the map are either. Oh, God. Is that how we have to build? I could do it, but it would take me my whole life, basically. I would have to, I would just do the top layer, nothing underground at all. Top layer, this right here would be barren, and then we'd have to come back later and, dig a hole and then build whatever level we wanted underneath it. What does this do? Foliage. Filters landscape. Plus foliage. Static mesh foliage. Third person. Yeah, see, all that, I have no idea. Set point grid snap value. All I really need is to something to show me what the maximum world build limit is, and then I need it to essentially I need to set two flat planes. I need the very bottom, lowest level that you can build, make that flat, and then go up however long. I need to know what the maximum grids are, and then I need another flat layer, and then that would give me my underground and my above ground, and then I would need to build all of my other stuff on top of that or something. I don't know how these systems work though. Because brush adding, animation, I think quickly add to project, list of world blueprints, ceiling light, effects explosion, effect fire, effect spark. I can't hear it. That fire looks pretty decent though. Audio. I just want to hear it. Sound. Volume multiplier, pitch multiplier. Randomization. I give my props to game developers, man. But it does look pretty good. I'm not going to say that they have, it might be hard to use this for skills. See, I don't even know, like, the place foliage on another block foliage geometry. I don't see, like, all this stuff. I have no idea. Landscape. See, like, you can import, but, like, how do you just... World grid size, material, basic floor, basic wall, stone, bush, chair, tile, I guess grass, location, section size, sections per component. I don't know. Number of components, overall resolution, create. Not bad. You still got this starting zone though. But I'm guessing like a completely flat world has to be similar to like Minecraft where you could just like not allow people to glitch underneath it at all. And then when you add shapes above ground, I'm guessing that is probably where things get kind of, messy. But how big the world is, that is the thing that would be kind of hard to figure out. But also this grass is flat. Like there's nothing to it. And something that's really interesting that you never see in like MMO type games is like real grass foliage or like pathways that you could like walk and then all of a sudden a path forms. I think stuff like that is like the next big thing that like MMOs should have in. It's like you go to a map and then like if you like say all this was a field and everybody walks from here directly to the town over. Well, then all of a sudden there'd be like a path that would form in the grass. And let's say if it happened long enough, eventually it just made like a dirt path through the whole thing. That could be interesting, but probably would tax systems a bit too much, you know? But my thing is like if I do ever end up trying to like take the time and build a full game out of this, if I was able to do that somehow, I would do it. Even if I was the only person that had the equipment to run the game, I think I would do it. Height map. Layers. Height map. I feel like the tool, like I'm sure this tool is probably very nice for people that know what they're doing, but brush, smooth, flatten, ramp, erosion, erosion. So like something's happening there. So that is basically how you shape the earth, I guess, is by doing that. Interesting. So you can do, I mean, it's both good and would be kind of annoying. Copies one side of a landscape to the other to easily create a mirrored landscape. That's probably the best way to go with this. If you're going, if you're going to save time, you just mirror two sides of the map and then you just make identical copies in both directions. Hydro simulates erosion caused by rainfall. Interesting. I like it. Definitely makes the world look a little bit more lively. But it almost seems like you would need to be able sculpt height data. If there's a way to like, we need to like make our brush mask image with brush stroke. What is that? Work with entire landscape components. Oh. So that's like the chunks from Minecraft. That's interesting. Very interesting indeed. Because we also we got to keep the other bit that we were doing. But I guess they don't have like an auto move thing. Why can't I move farther this way? So if you put your mouse on there, you can't move. And then, hello? Can I exit landscape? Or am I missing something up here? I want selection mode, and I would like to be able to move. I might have broke it. I might have broke it. Tools. Plus new class. Add CC code to project. The code can only be Visual Studio installed. A character is a type of pawn that includes the ability to walk around. Pawn is an actor that can be possessed. Is a character that can be possessed and receive input from a controller. Actor is an object that can be placed or spawned in the world. An actor component is a reusable component that can be added to any actor. Player controller, game mode base, world settings. Player state. Interesting. Class viewer. See, this is a lot more than I thought. Like when I think class, I think like professions, like playable classes in games. Build lighting. Compute static visibility. Build reflection captures. Updates reflection captures and stores their data in build data package. This action is not available when playing activate static fight. I don't think this is going to be too big of a deal in the game I plan on doing because it's a barren wasteland. I only have plans for a small section of the map to actually have water. So I don't think that would be that big of a deal. Unless we have some sort of special unique abilities that use reflections, because like League of Legends, I've always wanted a character in League of Legends where they could like put up a mirror and reflect abilities back at people or like copy them. But lore wise, it probably wouldn't fit into this game. Mm. I've actually started working on the economy idea as well. Um, so although I'm not the best at probably doing tools and building stuff like this, I can definitely build things in Minecraft. So like I could probably build the whole game in Minecraft if I wanted to. It would take a long time, and there are tools and mods you can put on Minecraft to make clouds and stuff like this. But when it comes to the ideas of the game, I think I got a pretty good concept that I want to implement. I still can't move. It doesn't make sense to me. Play from here. It's running a lot smoother though. I like the simple kind of design they have on their character as well. I mean, it already has shadows and stuff. I'm just curious how long this section is. Like, once you know the distance of each chunk, then you'd have an idea of what all you could stick on there. The other thing is that we don't know, like, if we try to place the blocks and stuff, how big the blocks are on the chunks. But, like, I need to know how big the chunks are, how many chunks are the maximum size of a map, and then from there, you could build your world. And then if you wanted to expand it, I'm guessing this is the map limit. So then you'd have to add more sections on, like portals to go in and out. And the game idea alone in itself is based on portals. So each level and each zone would have like a certain boss or fight that you need to do. And then the idea is that each boss will have like a normal and a hardcore mode for the boss. So if you go and you do a normal mode boss, you kill it, a portal opens up, and players can use that to go into the next world. And then they always can have access to a portal device to return, but then they're going to have to go and fight those bosses to get back out or portal back. So it doesn't look like each chunk is too awfully big. So that's good to know. The second part to it is that players basically how the system would be implemented is similar to like Guild Wars. You would have kind of public events, but in this game you would have potentially, if we make it to where you can join either side, you would have open world PvP type zones. So instead of having just, and like the starting area would be kind of like a PvP middle ground between the two kind of factions fighting each other and whatnot. Um, but the main thing is that, what was I saying? Oh, how the world boss system would kind of work is players could group up to fight the bosses, um, and beat them, right? And that would be the normal mode boss. Well, then the boss wouldn't have been 100% dead. It would reawaken injured for a second fight. And that would be the hardcore version. So players that wanted to stay around would have to stay and fight the hardcore boss. The other players that want to just go through the portal and get to the next world plane or whatever would just go through the next world plane. And that means that farming players would try to farm the hardcore boss, and then players that want access to the portal areas, they just would help kill the normal mode boss and then go through the portal. And I think that would kind of put some sort of community interaction with that. I should have went to college for this. I wanted to go to college for engineering, and I wasn't allowed because it wasn't like a course that I could take there. And so I was doing like a full sports scholarship and basically took whatever class they told me to take, which was business, and I think they screwed me over a bit. It was completely worthless. Just a bunch of common sense, nothing really major. But like I had a friend of mine that did programming, but they mainly watched YouTube videos to learn how to program stuff. I don't think they ever learned anything as complicated as this in the game. But I think it'd be interesting to have like leaning mechanics, because that's something you never see in MMOs, and you hardly see it in survival games either. But honestly, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, I would have to kind of figure stuff out as I went. Because, like, if I had to, like, I could just raise these up, turn it to stone or whatever, then, like, shrink the brush down, sink the middle back down, and then this would be an exterior wall. But it would be like an indestructible exterior wall, and I'm not sure that's exactly what we would want to do. If you could have a destructible environment or something, why not? I mean, if I had to make this single player starting out, I probably could, and then come back and try and get more funds to pay people to like do a multiplayer version. Because I have some pretty interesting concepts, like even like your weapons and armor type classes. And you know how people like crafting, like some people like crafting and others don't. Like I hate crafting, but you could make a class that is a weaponsmith or an armor smith or just a smith in general if you wanted to. Um, and I think that would be really interesting to have, and then have them impact the player map so they would have a purpose. And then in combat, they would basically be like not healers, but you would need them to like maintain your equipment as you're fighting. And I think that would be an interesting concept because you basically have differences for healers and differences for armor smiths and stuff. Um, which I already got planned out as well because I have every class that I've kind of come up with. There is a good version and a more of an evil version, and so like you have like a healer, but then you have like a witch doctor, you know, and they both kind of heal people, but one's more like uh spiritual, and the other one's more like uh soul type magic, like death magic, sort of. But in a survival game, you'd also want people that have like you're just going to be able to heal yourself in general. So you're going to have basic medical supplies or whatever, just like any survival game. But if you happen to run into a healer or have a healer, you wouldn't need to use your survival stuff. You know, I think that'd be a really interesting mechanic to have because I got the different magics already kind of separated in my head. So this is a good test. Um, if we can get anyone's like developers, any developer that wants to just slide in and like give me a deal and y'all want to help me build a game, like just holler because I have like 99% of the mechanics and everything planned out, and the world build, the concept, the lore is starting to come along. Um, and I'm not super greedy, like, just 1%, 5%. That's all, give me something to live off of, maybe. The rest of it kind of go into the players, team. If I was going to do anything, I would say, like, if I was going to take a bigger cut of anything from a game, like a developer company, I would say, like, I would take that percentage and then put most of it into a fund that would still fund the game. So all the profit that I would make, I would take like a small sliver, and the rest of it would go back into new content that would go into the game. And I think that would be pretty nice because I'm not too picky. You give me like 300, 400 bucks a month, I'm fine. I can live perfectly fine. I mean, that's enough to pay my house bills. What does that even come out to? That's 300 bucks is yeah, about 3 grand a year or something. Not too picky. Not a picky man. Because you know what that does? Like, if you give me 300 bucks a month just for anything, that means that I literally probably wouldn't even have to work. I just pay my house bills. I can grow a little garden. I think this is the first step, though. Because I don't know. I guess this is Unreal Engine 5, so I don't really know how well everything would work out. But so far, it looks really nice. I'm perfectly fine and acceptable with this. I don't know about weather conditions, hot cold systems, all that. I have to figure out how to add those in. And then like nutrition, all that kind of stuff would be interesting. But yeah, I'm probably going to end this video right here and then we're going to get back on Guild Wars here in a minute. So, got to figure out how to exit this. And y'all guys have a good one.